What's up? In this video I'll give you a short introduction as to who I am, what I've struggled with in the past, how I've overcome those struggles and what I do currently. So currently I'm the Chief Operating Officer at pclub.io. What we do at pclub is that we help entrepreneurs unlock their best selves, and we do that through a combination of biohacking, of accountability coaching, and optimizing someone's productivity. But that's not really what this video is about. This video is about my background, growing from a binge drinking student to a successful performance coach, coaching numerous entrepreneurs on their health and performance. And if you look at my life right now, you might think that it's always been perfect. I live in a nice apartment, I have a nice girlfriend, I love the people around me, I love the work that I do, but it wasn't always the case. As a kid, I always felt misunderstood and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no purpose, so I really didn't feel understood, and it got so bad that my parents, when I was, I think, at the age of 9 or 10, they did a psychological test with me because they didn't know what to do with me. And that actually led to me skipping a class. So in the Netherlands, you have primary school, I think that's the right term, and you have that for 8 years. And then I skipped the 8th year, immediately went into high school, and I thought I would solve all of my problems, but it actually made my problems even worse because I was a year younger than everyone. I felt inferior to the people around me because I was a year younger. I was very lanky and I didn't really fit into everyone. And that led me onto a darker path. And that darker path, because I was so bored and I didn't know what to do, I didn't have a sense of purpose in my life, I turned to narcotics. Or I turned to, maybe narcotics is a bad word, but I turned to binge drinking alcohol, I turned to smoking weed a lot of the time, and I just progressed worse from there because I didn't know what to do. And then if you start drinking, you only get more anxiety, you only get less what to do. Maybe some of you have also been addicted to weed. Like, you're only focused on the current moment, right? Like, there's nothing, and that's a beautiful thing sometimes, but it really makes sure that you're not focused on your future and what you want to do. And that's actually where I was at the time when I was at high school. I would just go through my classes, and then in the weekends I would either smoke a lot of weed or I would drink a lot of alcohol, and that was actually my life. What I was doing is that I was using chemicals to alter my state, so I didn't feel well inside. I felt anxiety, I didn't feel good, and then I turned to chemicals to make me feel good. So for example, with alcohol, you're just numbing the feeling and you're numbing the social anxiety that you have. It's the same thing with weed, right? Like, you don't feel a lot afterwards and you just feel zen in the moment. So that was what I was doing. And that was in high school. But then when I got to university, it only became worse, right? Because you have more freedom, you have more things that you can do, and there is a lot more social things that you can do. So that's when I got really addicted to weed. There was a period of like half a year where I was smoking weed daily. I was smoking out of a bong, and if I look back at that period right now, it's absolutely crazy. And I didn't know what to do with my life. I switched my studies, and that's actually when I got the first change. So I got into personal development for the first time when I was studying. The first personal development book I read was Models by Mark Manson. And you might know Mark Manson right now from his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. But before that, he was actually a dating coach. And the book Models talks about how you can become an attractive man and in that way attract women to you. So I honestly recommend the book to anyone because it's more about how you can become a high value man than it is about the dating tricks or the pickup things that you can do. So I love that book. I implemented it. I saw the results in my life. I started going to the gym more often. Like, I started to become more of a high value man. And that's when I got really hooked onto personal development, because I saw you can read this book, you can implement it into your life, and you can actually change your life. So then I was completely hooked. I started reading a lot of books. As I said, I was going to the gym more. I was very lanky, so I started eating more. I think I grew about 10 kilograms in 1 year. Just also a lot of fat. Like, if I look back at those pictures, I had a lot of fat near my cheeks. But now you think, okay, so then everything was perfect, right? Like, now you fixed everything. You got into personal development. Maybe you started coaching after that. But that's not really the case. So at the time I was busy with personal development. I read a lot of books, but it was quite a funny period where I was at in my life. On the one hand, I was busy with personal development, with health, with optimizing everything. And on the other hand, I was still binge drinking 2-3 times a week, smoking weed maybe 2 times a week. So in my head, I was already busy with a lot of growth things, but in my day-to-day, I was still living the same life. And the reason for that was my environment. And I believe in extreme ownership, so you should have the extreme ownership over what you do. But what I did notice is that my environment had such an effect on me. I was busy with a lot of personal development stuff. I was busy with growing myself. I wanted to start a business, but my environment was not. And then it's very difficult to actually change because you will always conform to your environment. For example, also at P Club, what I say to people is that you're making this change. You're becoming someone that's healthier, that performs better. If you are not looking or having contact with people that have those same values and ideas, then after you are done with this program, you will revert back to that identity because those are the people around you and you want to conform to those people. So it's very, very important that if you want to make a change in life, that you could actually change your environment. You could change cities, you could go to, for example, an entrepreneurship event, meet people there, but it's the most crucial thing to do next to reading the books, taking action, all of that stuff. So the moment it all changed for me was when I joined ISEC. And ISEC is this international student association or organization, however you want to call it, and it's very focused on personal development. It's focused on cross-cultural exchange. So for example, I was responsible for sending people abroad on an internship. There were people coming from all over the world to do an internship in the Netherlands. And then we were sending people on voluntary projects abroad. And everyone was very focused on personal development. And it was the first time in my life I actually felt completely understood by my environment, that I could be the person that I wanted to be. So that changed everything for me. Because the moment that you really accept who you are and you feel good in that identity, that's when you will make the most progress. And that's what I saw myself as well. And I was busy with entrepreneurship for, I think, already 2 years. I was dabbling into it, wanted to start something. We had some good business ideas with a friend of mine. And if I look back at it, if we would have taken action on those business ideas, we could have had like a pretty big business right now because we had good ideas, but we just didn't take action on it. And that all changed when I came onto a course from web design by Rob Anthony O'Rourke. And this course completely changed my life because it taught me that in order for you to become an entrepreneur, you need to learn certain type of skills. You need to learn how to market yourself. You need to learn how to do sales. You need to learn how you can deliver a web design project in that case. And that completely changed my life because that actually gave me the framework as to what to do in order to actually start a business. And that's also when my environment started changing even more. I started hanging out less with people who were binge drinking all the time, they were smoking weed, and I started focusing more on myself and my goals and where I wanted to go. And that's when things really took a turn. I started getting clients for my web design project, but then again, I felt there was something missing. I felt like this is not really who I am and this is not really what I want to do. So that's when I stumbled onto biohacking. And that's like, I still remember the day I stumbled onto a podcast about biohacking, and I think I listened to about 10 or 15 episodes in one day because I was so hooked. It was everything I was already busy with for years, but then in a more science-based way. So with a lot of things with personal development, it's like, hey, set a goal or make a vision. But for me, biohacking was really personal development on steroids and backed with data. So I was completely hooked, and that's when I set the intention to become a biohacking coach, a performance coach. That was around 2.5 years ago. That's when I started with my biohacking, my performance coaching business. First, I did it alone for the first, I think, 1.5 years, almost 2 years. I did it on my own. I had my own clients, one-on-one clients. And last summer, I actually started a program for people to join so I could scale the business up and impact even more people. And then in, I think, October last year, Jorn asked me if I wanted to join P Club. So that's what I did from January onwards, and now we're with the three of us. So Jorn, Jamar, and me. We have P Club, and we're trying to we are making an even bigger impact on entrepreneurs, because in your own you can go like quite far, but with 3 people you can go even further. And I see it now, right? I have some weak spots that Jorn is very good at. Jamar has some weak spots that I'm very good at, for example. And that's when you really can make a big progress towards a purpose that you have. So that's a bit of a background about me. I hope you liked it. Please share your story with me as well. I'd like to get to know you. If you want to know more about performance, then I have a newsletter down below. You can subscribe to it. You'll also get access to the Performance Catalyst, which is really like insane document, 30 pages long, about how to master your mind and master your health. And it literally has the biggest principles I know about mind and health in there. You can download it completely for free.